Welcome to Being Humankind with your hosts Brian, Mike, and Neely. We explore what it means to be human in a time of disconnection.
What would your childhood self be most proud of you for?
That I had a job.
All right.
No, no, I alluded to it earlier. When I was in middle school, like I got bullied really bad. I was suicidal. I had ended up changing schools because of it. I had I had the core three friends that I would always hang around with, and then like no social interactions other than that. And the bullying was kind of like, you couldn't escape it. It was just like I was this big kid. I was a big, strong kid, but I was always afraid of hurting people, so I never stood up for myself until my dad kind of talked me into it. And by then, I was already changing schools, and it was kind of free range. So it was like, "Hey, Ryan, you want some revenge? Now's the time." And and I went for it. But that was such a low point in my life that just if you asked me middle of seventh grade, what would you think of my life right now? I would just be more shocked that I was happy. Um, you know, um, I definitely looking back at my childhood, I had a severe um, self-respect problem. I didn't hold myself very high. That affected how I interacted with a lot of people. I look back and I was always kind of like embellishing my life a little bit, saying like, "Hey, oh, I did all this cool stuff. Well, you guys weren't there." Like I didn't say it, but it's kind of like the girlfriend in Canada type thing. Like, yeah, I had a great weekend with this person who doesn't. But if you asked me then, right now, you know, what would be the thing? How did you word it? What would I'd be the most happy about?
What would your childhood self be most proud of you for?
Um, I really do think that being simultaneously just happy and selling art, like, and I don't mean that in like a monetary way. It really doesn't matter how much I'm selling my art for. It's the fact that someone paid me $1 for something that I worked on. Um, it's a pretty amazing feeling, and you know, being a kid in art class that people are making fun of because I'm sitting in the corner doing my thing and saying, "Hey, yeah, you know what? Tell those people that someday you're gonna be selling, you know, $1,000 paintings and stuff. Like keep it up, kid." Um, I lean on that answer because that's really the only constant uh, from my childhood. I mean, I was a horrible student. I just I was creative. I could do anything creative. You know um, my wife met my English teacher and, a couple of years ago, and my wife went up to her and just said like, "So what was Ryan like as a student?" And she goes like, "Well, his papers weren't that great, but his covers were amazing." So I went from that to all of a sudden something clicking with me about wanting to learn, and it took me till probably my senior year of college to like all of a sudden just go, "Oh wow, I want to learn more about this, and you can't stop me." And it was my field. I loved art history. I'd never been exposed to philosophy before, and my absolute favorite thing in the world now is like a good conversation. Like I want to be taken out of my element. I want, kind of like what we're doing here, I want to hear questions that are going to make me think and make the other person think, and then we come together, and I don't really care if we disagree because it's not the or disagree or agree because it's not the point. I just love that conversation. So um, that would be very foreign to me as a child because I was never exposed to it. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, just being generally happy about life and having a good attitude would probably stick out more than anything, I think.